Most Americans are rejecting EVs, proving the electric revolution isn't as unstoppable as we thought. Imagine a world where gas stations are replaced by charging hubs, where the air we breathe is cleaner, and where every driveway has a sleek, silent electric vehicle. That's the future we've been promised for years. A world where EVs dominate the market and gas-powered cars are relics of the past. But let me hit you with a dose of reality. Most Americans aren't buying into that vision yet. Despite all the buzz surrounding EVs, sales figures tell a different story. Adoption is progressing, sure, but it's far from the explosive growth we've been led to expect. Why? What's holding people back from embracing this supposedly greener, smarter technology? And, here's the big question, is the hype around EVs starting to fizzle out? This is GR9 Society, and today, we're diving deep into the complex and often contradictory world of electric vehicles in America. Buckle up, because this is going to be an electrifying ride. Let's start with the numbers. In 2024, EVs accounted for just about 9% of total vehicle sales in the US. That's an improvement from 6.8% in 2022. But let's keep it real. We're far from a tipping point. To put things in perspective, over 80% of new cars sold in Norway are electric. Meanwhile, in the US, traditional gas-powered SUVs and trucks still dominate the market. Even industry leader Tesla is feeling the heat. In 2024, Tesla reported a 1.1% decline in deliveries, its first annual drop in over a decade. And it's not just Tesla. Other automakers are struggling to meet their EV sales targets. Why? Is it the technology, the cost? Or is it simply that Americans aren't ready for this revolution? Let's unpack that. So, why aren't Americans flocking to EVs? There are a few key reasons, and they're not hard to understand when you break it down. Let's talk money. The average price of a new electric vehicle in 2024 was around $53,000. That's nearly $12,000 more than the average cost of a gas-powered car. Sure, there are federal tax credits, up to $7,500 in some cases, but even that doesn't bridge the gap for many families. Add to that the cost of installing a home charging station, and it's clear why EVs feel out of reach for the average buyer. Then there's the fear of running out of juice. While modern EVs boast ranges of 250 to 400 miles on a single charge, that's still not enough for people accustomed to driving long distances without a second thought. And let's face it, America's charging infrastructure has a long way to go. Outside of urban centers, charging stations are few and far between. For rural drivers, owning an EV can feel like a logistical nightmare. Electric vehicles aren't a one-size-fits-all solution. For truck owners who tow heavy loads or adventurers who go off-road, current EV options often fall short. Cold weather performance is another sticking point. Batteries lose efficiency in freezing temperatures, making EVs less reliable for people in northern states. Lastly, there's plain old skepticism. People worry about battery lifespan, repair costs, and the resale value of electric cars. Will an EV bought today still be practical 10 years from now? Many potential buyers aren't so sure. Culture plays a huge role in the EV adoption story. In cities like San Francisco or New York, EVs are becoming a status symbol. But in rural America, it's a different story. Pickup trucks reign supreme, and gas stations are a comforting sight. Switching to an EV isn't just a financial or logistical decision, it's a cultural shift. Some regions are more EV-friendly than others. For example, states like California and Washington offer generous incentives and have a robust charging infrastructure. Meanwhile, in states like Wyoming or Mississippi, EV adoption is minimal. It's a tale of two Americas, and that divide is slowing the nationwide shift to electric. Beyond consumer preferences, external factors are also at play. Take electricity prices, for instance. In some areas, rising costs are making the promise of cheap charging less appealing. Then there's the supply chain. The global chip shortage and limited availability of critical minerals like lithium have driven up production costs, creating bottlenecks that slow EV rollouts. And let's not forget about policy. While the US government has made strides, its EV-related policies lag behind those of countries like China and Germany. Without aggressive mandates and subsidies, widespread adoption remains an uphill battle. The EV industry isn't sitting idle. Automakers are launching more affordable models aimed at budget-conscious buyers. The Ford F-150 Lightning, Chevrolet Bolt, and Nissan Leaf are just a few examples of EVs designed to appeal to the masses. Charging networks are expanding too. Companies like Electrify America and Tesla are racing to fill the gaps. Battery technology is another area of rapid innovation. Solid-state batteries, which promise faster charging and longer lifespans, could be a game-changer. If the industry can deliver on these promises, the barriers to adoption could start to crumble. Government action is critical to driving EV adoption. Federal tax credits, state incentives, and funding for charging infrastructure are all steps in the right direction. But there's more to be done. Stricter emission standards could force automakers to accelerate their EV production plans. At the same time, investments in renewable energy could make EVs an even greener choice. Globally, we've seen how effective policy can be. In Norway, for example, tax breaks and free parking for EV owners have led to world-leading adoption rates. Can the US follow suit? Only time will tell. So, what does the road ahead look like? Analysts predict that by 2030, EVs could make up 40% of new car sales in the US. That's a big leap, but it's still far behind countries like China, where the EV market is expected to dominate. The future of EV adoption will depend on several factors: technological breakthroughs, affordability, and public perception. Will Americans embrace the change, or will they stick to the familiar roar of a gas engine? One thing's for sure, the EV journey is far from over. The EV revolution is at a crossroads. It's not just about the cars, it's about people, culture, and the infrastructure that supports this transformation. So, is the hype over? Or is this just the calm before the storm? This has been GR9 Society, your go-to channel for uncovering the trends shaping our world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the most fascinating topics of our time. Until next time, drive safe and stay curious.